And welcome to the Weekend Stakes Preview Show. I'm Scotty McKeever, and today we are diving into the weekend's biggest stakes races with our expert analysis, top picks, and everything you need to know on how to stay ahead of the races coming up this weekend. Not a lot of huge races, but some decent ones, the best ones that we found over the weekend, so we've got you covered for those races. My partner, Justin Sampson, what is up, brother?
I'm glad it's Thursday. It's been a long week. Now I get to find my happy place and handicap horses and talk to you and, hang out for 90 minutes. It's pretty perfect, to be honest. How are you?
I'm doing good. Took a break after the Breeders' Cup, and I don't know if I told you, but I secured my second NHC seat. So
I've got two. I did.
Yeah. I didn't know. I got a fourth place finish in the last day of Santa Anita, and I was in the lead most of the way, and then I got fourth, and I thought, oh man, I needed third, and I had no idea. And then I got an email about a week later saying congratulations, and I was like just stoked. I was super happy. And
I remember because we talked about that, we saw that, and that's great. Well, I'm glad you did that. I'll probably just end up having to qualify on last chance day again. So
that's right. Like you did this year.
Yep. We'll just do it again.
Listen, the NEC, it's around the corner. March is not far away. It's crazy.
I know. That's why I said
we're
that.
Just there.
Yeah, I know.
And speaking of the NEC, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I said it's going to come really fast.
Well, speaking of the NHC, in March, we've got the road to the NHC with 2022 champ David Harrison. So 11:30 tomorrow morning Eastern time. If you can tune in and watch, we'll hopefully you can join us. We'll cover feeders. We'll cover the qualifiers to help you try to qualify for the NHC. We've had, I want to say, 5 people, Justin, that started with us on this road to the NHC that have qualified for the NHC. So we're super pumped about that.
Yeah, I think you'll get some more because I think as it gets closer, right, you're going to probably have some people that get in kind of last minute. And, again, I'll probably just be there on Thursday qualifying again. Well, we'll be trying again. So,
yes, I'm going to get there early. I want to get there. I'm going to convince Anna to get there on Monday or Tuesday. Seriously, if you've never been before, even if you're not in the tournament, you just go. The room is full of energy, and it's just so much fun. You've got to at least try it out, and then you'll get the bug to once you qualify one time or you want to qualify. Like you know that already.
Yes, yeah. I was there the first time and didn't qualify, and then the second time did. So,
and I remember on that weekend, the first time we had the horses to watch, and that helped you to qualify for the NHC was the horses to watch.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. It was amazing. That was like the introduction of that. And then you translated that into the badges, which are amazing. And there are lots of value to be found. The one thing I like about that, and then I'm sure we'll jump in, is I like that you get to have 100+ races to look at per day. And with EquinEdge, Scotty, I can easily say, I'm not playing that race. I'm not playing that race. I'm not playing that race. Because, a lot of people look at the form and you see them do the same thing, but I don't know how they go through fast enough. I just look at some race. I'm like, I'm not going to find the horse and it's not the right price or whatever. I just move on so I think that's the beauty of a tournament like that. Cause it's so hard, right? To look at 100 races that
awesome.
And that's like per day. That's
even
like per day.
Right? Yeah. Even with EquinEdge. So I just lost my train of thought. I have no idea what I was going to say now. You ever do that?
Yes. Yeah, it happens. Yep. Maybe you were talking.
Me crazy.
I don't know. Something NHC maybe.
Well, we have a bunch of stakes races to cover. Hopefully that'll come to me. And I know what I was going to say. I got it. Listen, this is really good news, by the way. I don't know if I told you, but I did tell you, and I told Chris and Oldie that we were working on the GSR. And we've been working on a new GSR for the last 3 or 4 weeks now. And the good news is that even though the GSR is not a win percentage, there's 2 ways we judge the GSR. One, by the top GSR in each race, what percentage of the time it wins, and then what the average payout is. Because if the payout's going higher, then we know that it's starting to choose some price horses as well. It's not just looking at, it doesn't look at what the horse goes off at. It just kind of ends up that way, right? Yes. Anyways, so not only have we gone from 20%, we're at 22.3% right now. And not only that, you would think when you go up in win percentage that the average payout for $2 drops. It actually went up $1.
That's probably probably material too. Yeah.
It's massive. That is so big. So maybe in the next month you'll see a release of a new GSR. So super pumped about that. Yeah. All right. How about we get into this, the races for the weekend? These are some of the stakes races. Let's start off with the $100,000 notebook stakes. This is for 2-year-olds, as we always do. We'll run the simulated race first, and we'll go from there.
No stakes tomorrow.
None tomorrow. This is on Saturday. Yeah.
Good Saturday, Sunday. You guys share your screen. I got you though. Hold on.
Here, I got it. Okay. Sorry guys. Let's start all over with that. Okay, here we go. I'm a little rusty. Okay. So the 2-horse, the blinkers didn't help. They stay for this race, and we'll be shooting for the lead early. I'm going to tell you that at 19%, an EquinEdge second pick, you might not want to ignore the 2-horse. Now, I didn't make it my top choice, but the 2-horse could get away on the lead. I did settle in, Justin, on this 3-horse because this horse, first of all, has been outrunning his odds. Check this out. Look. I mean, 12-1 here, got second by half a length against a 72 group in a state-bred non-graded stakes race for $200,000. Got a second place here and a third place finish here against a 78 group going a mile. This horse just keeps running phenomenal. Has a great GSR. The win percentage goes up a little bit. 9-2 line, and there's a lot of speed in this race, Justin. I think the 3 is just going to sit back, and I'm a little worried that might be a little far back, but I'm really not. Honestly, there's so much speed in here, and I think that the horse might be even a little bit closer. A lot of people might stay away from this horse because going 8 furlongs, it was so far back, but they were flying. I mean, flying. And so I'm not that worried with this particular group that the 3 is going to be too far back.
Yeah, I actually agree with you here. I had the 3 on top as well. I also thought that maybe the 2 was a player down under, but you and I actually agreed on this race because the other horse I really looked at was the 7. But on the 3, this horse is just much classier. I think Scotty, I think is well met, is bred well. I think Weaver had this horse and then broke its maiden elsewhere. Not really sure why that happened, but then Weaver got the horse back. I don't really know, but I think to your point, ran really well at Toga in the funny side. Ran second, showed the ability to come off the pace. I think versus this group, it's, as 2-year-olds, I think there's probably some questionable horses still, that, maybe could improve, but I land on the 3 with the experience, the GSR, and I like the price, like for in a race like this. So the 7 3Bs was the only other horse that I kind of looked at. I thought this horse fit. I mean, it's going to be a big price, just broke its maiden, but I thought more underneath. So, I thought the EquinEdge picks had this pretty nailed in, Scotty, but I had the 3 on top. The 7 was my second pick. And then maybe a horse like the 4, but I thought underneath again, like I really just thought that the 7 horse was the horse to beat here. So,
well, Oldie, we'll show the 4. You got the 3. The 4 and the 5 horse are both 7-2 EE morning lines from big odds, and Oldie likes these horses. Let's see, he has the 5 horse for first and the 4 horse for second. So just want to make sure we give Oldie a shot out there. The horses, both horses seem to be training good. That's what Bruno's workout says anyways. You can see workouts seem good. And Wesley Ward's horse here is off of a layoff. Johnny Velasquez jumps aboard. He was aboard for this maiden breaker. And so, maybe these are 2 horses that have to be considered as well. I'm going to stick with the 3 horse. I know you've got the 3. Actually, we're both on the same 2 horses. I like the 3 and the 7. And this is it's a wide open race. I mean, you've got Oldie picking the 4 and the 5. We both have the 3 and the 7 for second, who's 12-1 on the odds makers morning line, by the way. And then I think the 2 horse could go gate to wire and sneak up on them. And that's the way this horse broke its maiden, and it hasn't been able to clear in the last couple of races. So this horse could be tough with a clear lead. So I wouldn't fully ignore the 2 horse, and it has a very nice win percentage at 19. Like, how does this horse against this field? This is why the 2 caught my eye. What's going on, everybody? What's up, Alfredo? Hey, Brandon. Think about this for a second. The 2 horse lost by 11.5 lengths last time out, 6.5 lengths the time before that. And now this is a very strong field on paper, and the horse goes up to 19% win. How is it not going down to 5% win? You know what I mean? And it ends up being EquinEdge's second pick. Just saying, like, and the thing is that the 2 horse could clear here. So, anyways, a lot of different ways you can go in this race. You and I both are on the 3 horse. I think there's enough speed in here. But I wouldn't be, you know what I wouldn't be surprised by? I wouldn't be surprised by exactly what the picks have here, 3, 2, 7. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes in like that, or 3, 7, 2. So, but I respect Oldie's handicapping him, and Oldie's been on fire, as you know, and he's got the 4 and the 5. So and then we haven't even talked about the 1 horse who's 8-5 on the odds makers morning line. Or how about the 6 horse who's 2-1 on the odds makers morning line? Like, holy hell.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but I like the price on the 3, so we'll see.
All right. Let's get to the next race. So we're going to go to Aqueduct race number 9 on the same day. All right. Let's run this thing.
When I looked at this race, Scotty, and I handicapped it, and I thought this was. I like my top pick, but it's a competitive field, so it's. I think
Who are you
both of
going
these
with?
six races. Do you want to answer Chris's comment first? Or you want me to? I do, Chris. This came up actually in the coaching class, guy. I like to definitely play certain tracks. I like to understand the tendency of a track, Chris, if the meet is just starting, and that's hard. But I do like to look historically. Rodney, that's my horse. I'm on the 3, the Scotty long shot here, Fire Pit. But Chris, I like to understand what has occurred at that track in the other meets. So that's the one thing that I try to look at. I do use the track trends tool just to understand post position and pace and stuff like that. Del Mar can be showing me speed favoring, or Churchill or wherever. So that's my perspective, Scotty. I just handicap like normal, but I do like to understand track tendencies. So I like to play a track. I don't like to just jump in the first 2 weeks of a meet and never played the track before, or rarely play it. So
what I find is that when you have a new meet, they've usually been working night and day on trying to, get the track in perfect condition. And I find that many times at the beginning of meets that the track plays very fast. That's what I see. And it'll go that way for a week or 2, and about a week at least. So I always assume, especially on dirt tracks, that and even turf, that speed is going to hold. And so I will lean towards speed at the beginning of meets, almost even with not watching any race. That's just what I've seen. If you look at this last Keeneland meet, speed, remember the first 3 or 4 days? I mean, you couldn't pass a horse. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what it seemed like to me. Here's Alfredo looking at Gulfstream Park on Saturday.
Hey, Alfredo, that's coming up in 3 races. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah. Yep. And then, by the way, I love that. Look at that video, Hippica, and look at that picture of Alfredo's father.
That is a great little. Oh man! So Rodney, that's funny. Rodney mentioned, he said, "Oh, the number 3 seems really interesting at a 7-1 EE morning line." Here's my. Yeah, I think they're getting ready to shut down the turf at the Big A, I think is what I heard. So David will know that. David tell us that on Saturday. But Fire Pit won a main special. then won a 62 SOR. Oh, yeah, I think. And this horse does have experience. Scotty ships in from Laurel. I think going to try to fly under the radar. I like look at that GSR move on the stretch out on turf. It goes up 15 points last out. So, I went with some of the experience here in Fire Pit because you look at many of these, Scotty, and they're all coming off. Plenty of them have coming off maiden special weight wins, or they, are just third out. But a lot of these, and you talk a lot about that, and sometimes I land on horses that just broke their maiden. But this was a race where I wasn't going to. I like the inside post on the turf. I like that this horse has speed. It's shown the ability to sit right off in a 64 and then a 62. So I think is on the improve. I love the price. It's a long shot. So in a really competitive race, and you'll talk about some other horses, that's where I went on top.
So I went with a 9-horse early adopter. I actually really, really like this horse a lot. I
think Oldie landed here too. Oh no, this was Oldie's second pick, but keep going.
So look, this horse breaks its maiden barely, and then comes back against a grade 2 field at 8%. And I mean, ran a huge race. Look at where this horse was at the stretch. Like, this horse was competing at the stretch against a grade 2 field, and now is facing a non-graded stakes race. And it's Chad Brown. He wins everything. I just think, now, we often talk about how horses only come back after breaking their maidens to win 5% of the time, and let alone, running so well, excuse me, to the stretch in its first race against winners in a grade 2 race.
That was a yielding track too, for anybody who's jumping on the 9 with Scotty.
It was a yielding track.
Exactly. Maybe we'll get back to a firm turf. I put this horse in my, I think, 3rd or 4th spot. I think it's a player. So, why don't you keep going? I know we'll talk about a couple others, I'm sure.
Well, the other one I like is Jack and Jim. I think the 4-horse ran a really good race, considering, if you think about it, this horse beat 11 horses in its first start while breaking slow. It was not a good break. And that's not an easy thing for a first-time starter to do. It's not an easy thing to go 2 turns on the turf in your first start and win as well. So I just think this horse is showing a lot of talent. Now, some people are going to say, hey, Franco got off of the 9-horse because he rode the 9-horse in the first 2 races, and he got off of this horse to ride Jack and Jim. And he may very well have done that. That's a possibility for sure, but I don't think so. I don't think you're getting off a Chad Brown horse. I think Flavien Prat is one of Chad Brown's favorites, and I think Flavian's probably the jockey of the year. So I think that the 9. I think it's a 2-horse race, the 9 and the 4. I will say this about the 6-horse. This horse galloped out. It broke its maiden going 6 furlongs in the turf. The GSR drops 11 points, and it faced a really weak maiden group. But the way this horse galloped out, just, it was pretty impressive. So, and it is EquinEdge's second pick. Ironically, this horse was the first pick, and that's changed. That can happen, by the way. Don't let that throw you off. The picks can change, things can change, and the system accounts for it and sees that. But I do like the 9-horse early adopter to win the race for Chad Brown, and I think Jack and Jim will be second.
So I'm glad you talked about the 6. That is Lezcano on the turf. I thought the 6 might want to just be an amazing sprinter. So if George Weaver can't get that horse to win here, look for that horse on the sprinting on the turf, to be honest. The only other horse, Scotty, that I'll talk about that I had as my second pick, because I agree with you, the 4, 9, 6 are all players. You're looking at who are you looking at?
Looking at the dam of the 9-horse. I mean, she was running some big long distance races, and look, she's a great Group 2 winner here by 5 lengths. I mean, the horse will run all day long, and this horse is going to have a future going longer. The longer, the better for her. In fact, 8 furlongs might even be a little short. I don't think it is, but she could have a nice future.
The only, again, I think I do worry about the speed here on this, so if those horses, especially the 9 being able to get up, but Sounds Like a Plan is, I'm not sure that Sounds Like a Plan can win, Scotty. I do think that, both, again, I'm on the 3-horse Fire Pit, but this is another horse that I thought might be able to hold on in a vertical bet, and you're going to get a really good price. I bet you get 8-10 to 1, and, bred really well. It kind of romped last out on the lead, but I think this horse probably has class. Scotty would be my guess. And if I think it does come down, in my opinion, to looking at 3, 4, 6, 9, but the 2 I think is the player that could come underneath too. So
I was more negative on this horse, Justin, because look, this horse got an easy lead against a much easier group, a state bred group, added blinkers last time out, got an easy lead, and then was slowing down and stopping. They were catching this horse. So I don't like when a horse is losing ground so fast like that against an easier group and then has to face tougher. So I was more negative on this horse, and especially with the big drop in win percentage.
All right, I'm on the 3 Fire Pit. You're on the 9. Oldie had the 4. Oldie had the 4 on top.
Oldie liked the 4 Jack and Jim. Okay. All right, where are we going next? We're going to do Charlestown race number 7.
Yeah, right. We don't get to cover a Chuckytown race very often.
No. So listen, you realize this configuration. Okay, this configuration, Justin, like you're talking about having to do 3 turns here because the configuration over Charlestown is only 6 furlongs. So yes, you have to be a special type of horse. You've got to have stamina, and so you want to look for a horse that likes to go longer.
I did? You know what I did? The first thing, I went to the GSR tab and I said, who won at 9 furlongs and who's won at 9 furlongs at Charlestown?
Yeah. Well, I landed on the 9-horse Ronaldo because, the horse is 9 to 5. So I'm looking for a horse that's got a good GSR, has done well to surface. Look at this horse won going 9 furlongs against a similar group. And it was a $300,000 race. This is a $75,000 race. A horse always runs good. Ran really good last time out. Not an easy thing to do. It goes from 7 furlongs to 9 furlongs and wins that race. It's just not easy to do. So we can see this as well. Look, this horse went from a 63 2 races back on the GSR. You think the horse wanted 9 furlongs? Goes up. Look at that. Right? 15 points. The horse goes up in GSR and wins the race. I'm betting, and you look at the record of this horse. 9 races and 12 in the money. I'm banking that this horse is gonna win this race. Well, the 10 horse, who's 47% to win, is going to be breathing fire. I think. I don't know that this horse wants to go 9 furlongs. It says it does, but there's other speed in here too. The 4 horse is very fast. Yeah. And the 10's going to be your favorite, but I think the 9's going to beat him.
So. We're only probably going to talk about one other horse in this race because I know you have this horse underneath, but I put the horse on top. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the 7, Scotty, so I'm going to let you try to do that for me. But, I talked about, to your point, I actually, to be honest, I've watched quite a bit of Charlestown because on the West Coast, I see a lot of this stuff at night, and Charlestown runs at night. And Runco is a big trainer out there. He has both the 7 and 9, and the 7 has 4 wins and 9 tries at 9 furlongs. It's hit the board in 8 of 9 at 9 furlongs. It's won, at 9 furlongs in the past at Charlestown, a couple years ago, but that's okay. I think this horse still has it, but Scotty, I think this horse gets a pace set up, and that's where. This horse got 100% hitting the board, but I think it's going to get up. Charlestown can be pretty speed favoring, I know, at times, Scotty, but I think it's stopping. I think the 10 and 4 is stopping here. I do think it's between the 7 or 9. I'm just taking the 7. I know you're taking the 9. So I think we view it similar. The, Runco has them both. You get Cruz on 1, and then you get the go-to rider, which I'll leave you with this. You have Arnaldo, the jockey, on the 9, Scotty, riding Ronaldo. So Arnaldo Arnaldo is riding Ronaldo. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, that pair has won the last 2 races. The horse seems to be doing very, very well right now, and I like to take that. I like when horses are in good form like that. So I think the 9's going to be tough. Look, if the 10 gets an easy lead and the 4 was to break bad, then the 10 could go gate to wire. It's certainly bred to go this long, but it needs the lead. You can see here, look at when it went 8.5 furlongs here, 3 back here at Charlestown. Look what it did. It ran terrible because it didn't get the lead. It's a lot of these horses will do okay rating if they cut back in distance, but when they go long, they need the lead. And I think that's the case with this horse. I mean, no complaints with this horse. This horse has won 260,000, 9 wins in 26 races. In the last, I like to sort to the 6 months, but in the last 6 months, this horse has earned 98,000 with 3 wins and 7 tries. And the 9 horse has won $170,000 in the money in all 5 tries. I like that a lot. And so I'm all over the 9 horse to get a trifecta here, to win three straight races. But I recognize the 10 horse and what appears to be its speed. But I like the 7. That's my second pick. So I'm saying 9-7.
All right, I'm 7-9.
And for what it's worth as well, Oldie likes the 10. He likes the 10-9.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
Yeah. We have the picks covered.
Yeah, we do. Delmar 2.
And then Alfredo, if you're still around, we're gonna talk the Philly Sprint. So we're there in probably 5 minutes.
Who'd you like
Delmar,
here?
Yeah, is this the 4 Baffert versus the 1 Yak team?
4 Baffert horses. Which Baffert's going to win is my note.
I know. Oldie and I landed on the same horse, so I'm rolling with Hector Barrios and Bob Baffert. I think this sets up, to be honest. I mean, they're going 7. I know speed can be dangerous with JJ on the 4, so I'm landing on the 1. I know Baffert a lot of time went on the lead. Lately, I feel like he's been stopping, so I think he's got a good one here. I think this horse it's obviously really bred so well, Scotty. I mean, 1 of 58, 1 off the main wind. Doesn't happen very often in the 76. I'm assuming that's the Delmar debutante, if I remember. But win percent goes up. It goes up again. I mean, didn't run last out, right? But they did go 2 churns. And so that's where I'm giving the forgiveness and saying, you fine. Don't want 2 churns. You take the cut back to 7 and has a good pace to get. So that's what but to be honest, it's like, what Baffert do you want? What style do you want? Like,
well, let me tell you, I feel like I have a strong opinion in here. A couple of things. One, I watched the Delmar debutante, and it wasn't a strong race. And I know this horse won. There was only 6 other horses in the race. It was not strong. Let me ask you a question. Who wins a grade 1 race, and in your very next race, you get blinkers added? All is not right with this horse. It's just not right. And by the way, if you look at the workouts, guess who's been outworking this horse? Look here. 10 on Mawu worked a half a mile in company for Baffert, and Mawu was best. Mawu was best. Now, Mawu was forced from the rail last time out. In order to stay in contention, had to send, was only 13% to win, and went gate to wire there from the rail, being pressed and pulled away nicely. Now draws an outside post. The horse is tactical. Bye. And by the way, Kimura gets off of the 1 horse to ride the 5. I think Mau's gone. And Silent Law is my second choice. I like the 5-4.
I like the 4. To me, I did catch the work. I did not catch the versus the 1. There was something else you said about the 5. I won't, but I did think JJ.
The horse was at the rail last time out.
Yeah, yes, yeah,
right?
yeah. No,
listen, this horse wants longer. This horse wants longer and was all out from the beginning. Not all out, meaning there's a lot of fast horses in here, and that horse was fast enough to get the lead. But what was interesting, the horse looked like a 1-pace horse. That what was so impressive about this horse. But his class put him up there. And then even though he was on that pace, being pressed on the outside, just pulled away like a good thing. She's nice. She's a good filly. I wish the GSRs were a little bit higher for her, but she's a nice horse, and she showed a lot of class winning that race from the rail last time out.
I think JJ might get away because I was with you on Silent Law. I think, but I just thought, I'm not sure there. I don't like the win percent, but Scotty, you went to the race sim, that's where I was going because Rodney brought it up. The only thing I think I would say there, Rodney, is, in my opinion, and maybe if you get rid of the 1, it does to me, it really and I already like the 4, and Scotty, you make such a good case for the 5. I'm like, well, I think it really is between those 3 then. That's just my opinion there. So, but I think it's tough sometimes with EquinEdge, Scotty, because it's like, okay, race sim say you're going to romp, but we brought this up in the coaching class, you still have to handicap and say, okay, do I actually agree that's what's going to happen? Or did you find something with the 5 who's the second pick? Right.
And I remember though, it's right 35.5% of the time. It's still wrong.
No, yeah.
Of the time. Right.
But that's my point. Yeah. That's my point. You still have to handicap. You just can't rely. The race sim would say horse going to win by
exactly.
4 lengths, or I think was it 4 lengths or 3 lengths? But sometimes if you handicap and get there, and that's what I'm saying, I think this horse is fine. I'm not trying to get wrapped up in the work stuff. And I do think, and this is maybe I didn't like the stretch out to 2 and it didn't run, but I liked the cutback. But your point of blinkers maybe are valid there. I guess I didn't have that in my handicapping toolkit to worry too much about it. I just thought, they tried to churn with blinkers. Now he cut back to 7 and we're doing what maybe the horse would rather do. And I think the pace sets up, right? But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, not only that, if you look at the race simulator, and this is what I mostly use it for, you can see that the 5 is going to be in front of the 1 from an outside post. And the 5 is going to be sitting outside of the 2 and the 4. And so the 5 horse, Maui, did not get a chance to relax in its last race and still pulled away easily. And now it's going to get a chance to just sit from the outside. It has tactical speed off of the 2 and the 4, and then just romp. That's what I see anyways.
Well, I'm excited to watch this race. This is one of the things I love about the preview show, Scotty, and doing it with you is, and then I'm pumped to watch the race on Saturday because I'm locked in. Like, let's get this. That's why
I can tell you I'm singling this horse, and I think Silent Law is a decent horse, and Hernandez has been aboard for both starts. But look, it wins last time out, and it does not go up in win percentage, just barely. And not only that, it had the lead. Well, the 2 horse Practical Dreams pretty darn fast. And from the end, you realize from the inside, the 2 has to go, right?
Yes.
The 2 has to go. So, right. So the 2 is going to be dealing with the 5 and the 4, and the 5 is just going to be sitting there on the outside in a perfect position. That's what I see. And the 5 already has been out working the 1, and then the 1 added blinkers for someone. Like, you don't win a grade 1 and then make an equipment change next time out. I'm sorry. You just don't do it. And then run like hell, lose by 10 lengths. No, I'm not buying it.
Where's Alfredo? Alfredo, you still here? We're going to talk this Gulfstream Sprint.
All right. So we're going to go to race number 6. Let's see here. Gulfstream.
Oh, Alfredo liked the 5. That's who he was talking about in the chat.
Oh, was he?
I'm between 2 horses. I'm between the 3 or the 5. So, yeah, Alfredo, where are you? Tell me about this 5 because I'm between one of them, Scotty. 3 or the 5.
I like the 3 horse to win the race. I mean, she won in the easiest of ways last time out. Albeit it was at Colonial Downs. Obviously, there was a private sale. This horse was bought. And if I can understand them wanting to buy this horse. It was so impressive. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on this horse, Alfredo. But Paco Lopez jumps aboard. George Weaver now has this horse. That was super impressive. And the horse did it easily, had a little bit of a layoff, and the horse is hard to tell by the workouts, to be honest with you. But this horse has more in it, and I don't think it really has a lot to beat. The 5 horse I have for second, that was an impressive maiden win. But I think maybe the 3 horse Bella Cleopatra might be the real deal. So I went 3-5.
So I'm just a coin flip here. The 5, maybe 5 ran the slop, trip out on the rail, running on the dirt at Gulfstream. So Alfredo, talk to me there, right? I mean, what happened here? Edwin ride, love Edwin riding for Delgado. Like, I mean, this might be the real deal too, Scotty. I mean, so, but I don't disagree with you on the 3. Those were really the only 2 I looked at. The 4 has a lower GSR, been running at Pimlico last out on the synthetic. And the 2 I didn't really have interest in. So it really just was between 3-5 for me. So what Alfredo say here?
Delgado was better in second time starts in Venezuela.
All right, I'm on the 5. I'm on the 5 with Alfredo.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand. And the horse broke from the rail and broke last, and then pulled away to win by 7 lengths. Yeah, super impressive, no doubt about it. Win percentage drops to 16%. Bella Cleopatra was only 10%, and goes up to the top win percentage, lukewarm, of course. The 2 is a very fast horse, by the way, expecting she's going to be sent early. Not impossible that horse could go gate to wire. But Fredo says the 3 is a second. I think we all agree that this race is between the 3 and the 5. I was concerned. I think it's important we do talk about the 4 horse, because this horse might be your favorite in the race. Probably the 5, but Zayas jumps aboard for this horse. Did you look at this horse very closely? Horse didn't finish the race 2 back, then comes back and runs an average third place finish against an okay non-graded stakes grade field on the synthetic over at Presque Isle Downs. Now ends up here. I think this horse could get overbet. That's my feeling.
It's the same thing I did. I mean, also won over at Ellis Park, tripped out probably on the slop, I mean, and getting back to tracks, Ellis, not a track I play very much because it's very difficult, but, ran in that 70, Scotty, and I just thought, I'm like, well, also, bumped and eased 2 back. I just can't get down with that. That's not a play that I like. I think to your point, I think we'll take extra money. I think your morning line's probably good. 3-1 might be 5-2. And I was like, I'm going to take the 5, maybe at 5-2. Right. So yeah, very, very similar.
Yeah. All right. Alfredo has the 5. Oldie is, who's Oldie on?
5.
Oldie's on the 5 as well. He likes the 5-4, 5-4-3. So, all right, I'm on the 3 horse. I'm going with the EquinEdge picks. 9-5 EE morning line. All I know is I know it was Colonial Downs, no doubt about it. But wow, if you go watch that past performance, she was super impressive, and it's really nice to see, because the way she ran, what you're looking for in any horse for that matter is when they're trying for you. You could just tell that she's a trier, and she clearly got bought in a private sale. And now George Weaver has her. I have a feeling they have high expectations for her, and why not? And here's the thing. Think about this for a second, Justin. That might have been a really good private sale, a good buy. You know why? This is a Florida bred. This is a Florida bred. You bring her back to Florida, and you run in these races. Are you kidding me? She's the real deal. She belongs here against this field. Believe me. Good luck to you, brother. Yeah, she belongs here. I think this is 2 horse race.
Yeah, and that's where we started. It's gonna be one of them. I'm with you there. I don't think the 4 are gonna. I know it wins the race, but I'm on the 3 or 5.
Man, Alfredo's dad and him look alike. All right, where are we going next?
Woodbine. We're not getting to Patches yet. We'll get to Patches in a minute.
Don't even get me going on Patches. Oldie's a traitor. Oldie's a traitor. We'll talk about that later. But okay, Woodbine 10.
Race 10.
Oh my! I was so disappointed. it's like a rite of passage that Oldie takes patches. Like, he should be ashamed of himself. Okay, here we go. Hold on here.
I do agree with you, though.
And by the way, it's going to be a right. Talk about rite of passage. The fact that he did not take patches and patches is going to beat his horse, hands down. Hands down. Believe me. And I'm going to tell you why. When we talk about it, I'll tell you why. But let's take a look at this race here first, over at Woodbine. And
it's a big field, Scotty. This was the race. Well, actually, I'm just realizing this. This was the race I handicapped last week, and because they canceled this race. That's right. So, and I deleted my picks from last week because I said the race scratched. Oh man. Well, I know where you went. I'll let you go first.
Okay. So I'm on the 12 horse, Forever Super, and I'll tell you why. Look at this horse. Like, first of all, you're going 9 furlongs on the synthetic. You better have proven that you like 9 furlongs or really have a GSR that's going way up, because you need to have stamina. You can't come from too far back on this track, so you have to have tactical speed. You have to like to win. You have to have a decent win percentage. This horse has all of it. The only thing negative about it, and I don't think it's too negative, I run the race simulator, and I think the horse can get in position. I don't love the 12 hole, but at 9 furlongs, there looks like there's plenty of run into the first turn. So I'm not as worried about it. And we know this horse. Look, I mean, this horse on the turf here, won by 4 3/4 lengths, has earned $167,000 and change in 3 races on the synthetic, 9 wins in 18 races, and won $210,000, winning 3 and 1/3 place finish in 4 tries in the last 6 months. Forever Super is absolutely the horse to beat. I will, before you go on, I will say I like the 11 for second, Dresden Row. The 7 horse Paramount Prince, 3 for 3, going 9 furlongs in the synthetic. And I would have picked this horse to win gate to wire if it wasn't for this last race off the layoff, right? Look at the horse had an easy lead at 70 cents on the dollar, 60% to win, a similar group, and just stopped. It never does that. Like, for me, something's amiss. Whatever the issues are of this horse, because it does have, you can see it has some layoff lines. When it's right, it is right. But I'm going to try to beat this horse on Saturday. I think you're going to beat the 7. But if for whatever reason this horse is okay, then it will go gate to wire. But I'm thinking that something's still amiss with this horse.
So this is funny, and we won't cover too much on this race. So we were supposed to have this race happen last Saturday, Scotty, on the stretch run, and then we actually covered this race on last weekend's preview show. I was just looking, I'm like, okay, what did I do last week? And I'm looking, I'm like, what did Oldie do last week? We flipped the horses on what we both picked from last week to this week. Last week he picked the 7. This week he picked the 11. This week I picked the 7. Last week I picked the 11. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, so it's to me, 7 or 11, you already talked about it. So I don't have a lot more comments. I do worry about the post on the 11. That's why I know landed on the 7 this week, but I know also when I handicapped, I'm like, I know why I picked the 11. I think you're getting a good price. I think the horse can find a good spot. I need to go listen to last week and be like, oh, but I did land on the same 2 horses. I did have a note from last week, Scotty, that the 10 that bail us out as a price in the verticals. This horse I don't think can win at all, but I do think could go underlooked at a big price as it gets back to a synthetic track, right? Ran well last out in a 64. So, this group's not amazing. I think we'll be, have to see who scratches out, but I would be 11, 7, and then the 9 obviously is the second pick I think could run underneath, but to me it's 7 or 11.
The 10 horse is owned by Ripoli Stables.
I saw that. Yeah.
And it's lightly raced. You never know. They're taking a shot. It ran good last time out against a much easier group. This is a much tougher group in here, and going to be, it did face the 11 last time out, and the 11 had a big lead going into the stretch, and then gave it up, and the 10 was finishing. That's super interesting. I don't know how fast they were going early, maybe but the 11's supposed to pull away at 54% when it's 2 lengths in the stretch, and it has to barely hang on. Is one of the reasons why I didn't pick the 11 for my my top pick. I really do think the 12 horse is the horse to beat. This is a very nice horse. If you look at won 3 straight races in a row, and it's got a lot going for it. So win percentage drops, but that's because on paper this race is tough with the 7 horse and the 12 and the 11, and so obviously a big part of the win percentages is taken there. But I wouldn't let that sway you. But I like Forever Super to win this Autumn Stakes. All right, let's go to race number 11. And Patches, if you don't know the story, most of you do, but Patches O'Houlihan is a horse that Oldie religiously picks. It's always his top play. And look, won the last 4 races, right, Justin? And I mean, now Justin started not just but today on text, we're like giving Oldie a little bit of a hard time, and he says, well, he's facing Nobles, who's been, because he's saying that Patches is not facing Ontario breds here, but Patches has been facing open company in these races, Justin. Patches has been facing the toughest of the toughest. In fact, the time it did face these Ontario breds, it won by 6 lengths. So 11 wins in 13 races. I want to tell you why I'm taking Patches. Look at Nobles. I understand that Nobles won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Okay, but talk to me about something current, because that race was back in November of last year. This horse has only had 3 races this year, had no excuses in its last race last time out. This is clearly not the same horse. How can a horse like this, its not form, but doesn't seem to be the same, definitely not the same horse that won the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, and all of a sudden now it's supposed to come here and it's supposed to beat a horse like Patches? I'm not buying it. I'm all over Patches.
I am so with you. Noble, something's wrong. I mean, why you drop into allowance after you win the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint? Like, I'm not sure. So I think that race probably took a lot out of Nobles. And now you're going to come over here and come run up at Woodbine in a grade 2 on a synthetic track. Is that really the plan now for Nobles? Like, that's what's happening? Like, I'm not buying it, Scotty. Like, no way. And Patch, so then when you look at the rest of the group, and we don't have to go through the rest, this is not a great group. No. It's not. Patch is smoking them. Like, it's game over. I hope you get all of 6 to 5 and you don't get 4 to 5. That's my perspective. So
I agree. I thought it was an interesting morning line on Nobles, though. 6 to 1 is kind of ridiculous. I mean, this horse is not going off at 6 to 1.
Yeah. But it's a play against, for me, for sure, against the 4, and then it's just completely all over the 1, in my opinion. So
I mean, you got to, and look at Patch. I mean, this is such a nice horse. Look at 11 wins in 13 races. I mean, look, it beat 9 other horses last time out to win a grade 2. I would argue with you that that doesn't even look like a grade 2 group other than Nobles.
Yes, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It just, it looks more like a grade 3 field, if that, or non-graded stakes race. So I think Patches O'Houlihan is maybe, even though the SOR the reason the SOR is so high is because of Nobles. There is no other horse that's pushing up this SOR. And in fact, I would argue with you all day long that this SOR is too high, that it should be lower. But so anyways, you know who I'm taking. Oldie's taking the 4 Nobles. He's going to pay for that decision. The 1's is gonna beat him, and he will have turned on his top horse.
I know. I just don't get it. I could see at some point thinking a horse is gonna lose, but I don't see that happening for Patches on Saturday. Not that race, but
no, I don't either. Okay, that's race number 11. Now we're going to go and do some quarter horse. Listen, you aren't going to upset me when you tell me we're going to cover some quarter horse races. I became a quarter horse fan when I started working on the quarter show, and I really enjoyed it. I really started appreciating quarter horse races. So we're going to get out to Lone Star.
it's a big day for them on Saturday evening, a 12 race card. But the back half, man, where we're going to start these are real deal stakes races, Scotty. I mean, and we start out obviously a little bit smaller 2-year-olds, but they are running 400. Let's say, I don't know what, I've played quite a bit of quarter horse just because it is always at night, and that's how I grew up. To be honest, Scotty, using EquinEdge and playing quarter horse, because Los Al was late, Remington late, Lone Star late, and the system is very good, right? I mean, in my opinion, the race sim, the pace figure, it's the real deal, the GSR too. So, this is, I thought, I like the couple races we'll cover in a little bit. There's some really great morning line angles and angles on horses. I thought this one was a little competitive though, Scotty. I really did. We landed on different horses. I went outside here. Fast, Flyer, 1, 2, 3. And part of it with the 6 and 7 being inside is a little bit of my concern when they're sitting in the middle of the track. This horse gets an outside post, has a great GSR of 61. It won a 56 main special, 3 back. It's been racing in futurity, gets the trainer change over to Diaz Jr., who I don't know, but he hit it 24%. And with the jockey, these two are the real deal, man. They hit at 30%. He used this kid all day. And I think in a tough kind of competitive quarter horse here, it's this horse might surprise outside, man, at 15, 12, 10 to 1. And, so I do think, underneath, I thought the 7 favorite MVPZ, Scotty, you get the morning line ours is a little bit higher, but this horse has run really well in the last 2. And, one is the favorite, won the futurity trial, missed in that, stakes race here at Lone Star. It's a little bit why I like the 10. I'm a little bit, the 10 can, maybe improve in the outside post there. And so, and then the 6 I was against, but I'll let you talk about the 6 too. You're in the middle of the track, and, this horse has not broke well in the last 2, but last out did still win, broke fine. I do think is a player. But I had the 10 over the 7, over, even the 2 or 9 as bombers in this race. I thought this race was the toughest of the 5 we're going to cover. But that's how I looked at it.
So look, when I ran this thing, the race simulator, of course, I see, if you look, I mean, these other horses are pretty far back to be, a length back in a quarter horse race is a lot. When I see a horse like the 7 horse, 2 races back and 3 races back, winning by a length and an 1/8, or a length and a quarter and a length and a quarter in both those races, that's massive. Like even at 42%, 54%, that's like winning a 6 furlong race by 7, 8, 9 lengths. So that's the first thing I look for. Then comes back in this race last time out and breaks last and loses by 3/4 of a length. That was super impressive against horses that were tougher than this. So it's why I like the 7. The truth is I had to flip a coin between the 6 and the 7. The truth is I believe whichever one of these 2 horses breaks on top wins the race. That's what I think. And you're right. The 6 horse, I went back and forth. Initially, I was choosing the 7, and you're right. The last couple of races, the 6 horse is broke slow and still won last time out. The race before you're not going to win a race like that. It's an 80 SOR group, and you break slow in that race and you lose, period.
Yes. Yeah, that's why, Connor, thanks for saying that. Like, Sky and I both love quarter horse, so it's always, we don't cover a lot, right? But yeah, it is a competitive one. Again, if I'm definitely not singling here. I know you like 6. I like the 7. I worry about that 6 though, but if it break, it's going to be good. Trainer, Duran, and this is Diaz's other horse. So the 6 is the same trainer, Scotty, as the 10. He picked up the 10 though. He picked up the 10 the second time out. So he found interest in Fast Flyer 1, 2, 3. But
look at the jockey trainer combination of Diaz and Duran.
39%. I know.
39%. I mean, if you look at these, I mean, this is sick. I mean, look at the 5 and the 8, 0 for 7, 0 for 8, 2% and 4% throughout the 5 and the 8. And they're not anywhere near on the race simulator. So, a lot of people ask me, what am I supposed to look at here? You're supposed to look at everything. They're all tools. Every one of them, they're meant to do different things. You use the race simulator, you use the win percentage, the GSR, the SOR, all of them. You come over here to the stats if you want. You can sort here and go, how have the horses done and how big has the competition been? The 4 horse is 1 for 1 going 400 yards against a 54 group. And in the last few races, 5 races, it's faced a 60 group on average. Who are the 2 class horses in the race? They're 6 and 7. The win percentages 6 and 7. The morning line 6 and 7. EquinEdge picks 6 and 7. Everything was just pointing towards the 6 and the 7. I just didn't know who was going to win between them. And look at the 6 horse. Even money on the EE morning line. Why? Does this look like it should be even money to you? No.
Well, that's why
I like it.
So, but yeah, that's funny. I also worry a little bit because I think that horse could be false favorite, but we're going to find out on Saturday night.
No, but the thing is, I think the 7's going to be the favorite. My point being is, when a horse is even money and looks like it should be even money, it doesn't do anything for me. But when a horse is even money that doesn't look like it should be even money, I'm looking a lot closer at it and going, okay, what is the EE morning line seeing? And for me, the 6 horse is that. Again, it has to break good. So, but I think your 10 is a nice long shot. Absolutely, I agree. Nothing wrong with it. So if the 6 and 7 both break bad, absolutely the 10 can win. All right, let's go to race.
Even the 9 too. Oh shit, 9. But let's go to race 8. We're gonna keep going. But
all right, I limited this race to these 4 horses. I'm not gonna even run the other ones. It really it's pretty clear that it's. And I will tell you this. I actually think that the especially Good Candy, the 8 horse. I think this horse is dominant in here. I watched that last.
We have the same pick. We have the same pick.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. It looks. I'm with you. She looks dominant, man. Right? I mean, just looks to be better than this group. So I'm with you.
She faced Deep Blue last time out. She faced Flying Sophia. Those 2 horses, and both of them broke a little bit slow. But believe me when I tell you, if they were broke good, they still would have got their asses kicked by this horse. So now the 5 horse was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. This is actually a really nice horse. Now Flying Sophia got handily beat by the 8, but she broke a little bit slow and she was finishing. I couldn't. For me, I flipped a coin and said I'm going to go with the horse that's probably going to go off, at a longer price in the 2, but I'm taking the 8 on top, and I think a trifecta would be 8 over 257 over 257.
I like that. I think she is a key. I'm with you. I had Flying Sophia underneath though. I think she probably the real deal, right? Big GSR, Scotty. 78 as the square, as the standout. She's hit the board all 5 times, 3 wins, 2 seconds at 400 yards. Like, she's meant to do this. I thought it was between those 2 for me. I narrowed it to those 2. So,
all right. And then let's go to race number 9, Refrigerator. By the way, I looked up Refrigerator because I obviously know Refrigerator very well. And if you guys don't mind, I'd love to just share some of this stuff with you. First of all, Refrigerator was a champion, but this horse was named by his owner, James Cordell, after his actual refrigerator in his house. He felt the refrigerator was true story. Yeah. And I'll read to you, Refrigerator was a major champion. Won the Champion of Champions 3 times. First horse to ever do that. I don't even know if anybody else has ever done it, but he was the first horse to do it. And Cordell felt like his refrigerator was super reliable, so he names the horse Refrigerator. I mean, just such a great story. Was the first quarter horse to break $2 million in earnings, which set up a new standard in the sport. So, I mean, quarter horses just didn't do that. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2000. There's a lot more on here. You could look up Refrigerator online and find out more. But this should be $1 million race as far as I'm concerned. This was one of the best quarter horses of all time.
I love that. I didn't know that. That's I love when you drop knowledge like that.
Right. It's fun to just have a little bit of tidbit like that. So if you like that kind of information and stuff, we can do more of that. Just let us know if you actually like hearing about stuff like that. So you never know if people want to hear that kind of stuff. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. But what did you think in this race number 9?
You've narrowed very similar to I did. I only narrowed this to 249 though. I'm trying to beat Visa all day long if that horse go off as the favorite, which it might. So I thought KJ Desperado probably legit top Scotty pick. I mean, KJ Desperado, no joke here, Scotty, 16 wins and 26 tries for the 2 horse in 5 seconds. Has won 2.2 million at 440, man. I mean, has not won the last 2. Definitely a concern a little bit. Was not the favorite. So those were competitive at 82, 2 back in the All-American over. I'm guessing that's at Albuquerque. I thought was the real deal. Ships in from out of town. I like the Scotty Longshot though too. He's the Jet one, won 3 in a row, 8 wins and 22 tries. Does have to step up in the 4 horse, Scotty. But this horse is, I think, well man at Lone Star. And then the 9. So the Scotty picks have it nailed. I put KJ Desperado on the top. I mean, multiple grade 1 winner. It's the real deal. I think these others definitely are here, but I think the 2's better than these. But I think the 4 and 9 are players. So
I felt the exact same way. It was weird. These are, I'll show you the separator for me. These are all nice horses that I've left up on the board here. 1, 2, 4, 5, 9. I believe any one of those can win this race. That all being said, I had to go with this horse, KJ Desperado. Of all the top contenders in this race, this horse has won 8 races with 4 seconds and 14 tries, 12 first or second and 12 of 14 for $2.2 million going 440 yards against a 78 group. The rest of these combined only won 8 races. I had to go with the 2.
It's I think if I was playing a sequence here, which I probably wouldn't at Lone Star, I like quarter horse. I like to play verticals, to be honest. But you gotta kind of decide earlier, a couple races back, Scotty, or even the last race, or here, where you singlet, where are your keys. It could, some of these though just look like beasts. You know what I mean? The 2 just looks to tower over. So I think could be a key. Looks just dominant, but the Scotty picks have this nailed. That's why I like EquinEdge. I mean, in my opinion, I know you kept the 1 and 5, but
Well, I mean, all these horses look really good. All right, let's go to race number 10. That's the Refrigerator Stakes. This is a $330,000 3-year-old Texas Classic Derby. And so now I'm going to be winging this with you. That's as far as I got on my handicapping. I know we probably have 6 or 7 more races we could cover if we still have people that want us to cover those races. But you handicap this, so go ahead and talk to me about this.
Yeah, and there's the next one's a good one too. It's $1 million race, but here we got the 330K Texas Classic, Scotty, and you got a horse like Shoeless, won 4 of 7 at 440. We just talked about 440. Right. You have a horse like Fire Cowboy, the Scotty Longshot as well. that is a big player here, Scotty, at a 3-1 EquinEdge morning line off a 12-1 morning line. I did find it kind of crazy. The live odds look to be showing up. So I don't know, maybe they get
No,
to
ignore those. Tote does that sometimes. This is out of our control.
Yeah,
So
that was I was just kind of bringing it up. I
yeah.
thought those were your two key players in Fire Cowboy and Shoeless. I like the Scotty long shot. I like the top win. I like that the 7 gets a little bit of an outer post, obviously. And it does win the race sim, Scotty.
Yeah.
So, when you look at Fire Cowboy, won that trial. Last out, we talked about Diaz earlier. He's got the 7 Fire Cowboy here is the 3-0 gelding, and ran well off the layoff. Quarter horses, right, do fine usually off the layoff what I've seen. I mean, people got him prepped and fit and ready to go. So I think it's a real player. I think Shoeless the 6 is the other one, Scotty. I mean, one last out at Lone Star, won the Derby trial. That was a 68. The 7's Derby trial says it was a 74, though. So I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What? So I'm going to lean with the 7 because I like the price. I like the SOR. I like the races this horse is coming from. I mean, it's won 10 of 14, but it hasn't gone 440 more than one time. That's the concern for me, right? But it won last out in won well in that trial, ran a 21.68. The 6 ran a 21.61 on the same night. So I think you're going to get such a different price, in my opinion. But I really do like them both. I like the Exacta, Scotty, of 6-7. And then if I was playing anybody underneath, it would be just the 2 or 5. But I don't like them because the 2, the morning line favorite, and the 5, 3-1. So I was 6-7, but I put 7 over 6. But I probably box them and look for a price. And what kind of price do I get in the Exacta?
I had mixed feelings as I'm looking at these horses, but you would think that the 2 horse is going to be the big favorite in here because look at it, went 21.43, winning by a length. I mean, it's doing it so easily, and look, it's reliable to break good. In the last 5 races, broke first or second. This horse is doing very, very well. I mean, its qualifier here on 10:26 was super, super fast. I don't know how you play against a horse like that. I find it very interesting that the EquinEdge morning line is 9-2 on this horse, though. That kind of threw me off a little bit. I mean, 21.61 here and 21.43. So you're talking about a length difference there. So is the 6 horse going to be able to make up? It was losing ground in that race, whereas the 7 horse wasn't cranked off the layoff.
That's my hope is that you don't. I mean, the horse still won the trial, and that's one thing. You don't always have to win your trial, right? I mean, yeah, great. I just worry a little bit about the 2. That horse has run some big races, and you got the 7, to your point, coming second off the layoff, wins the trial, and now drop in here and win the Derby. I mean, yeah. Fire Cowboy won 10 of 14, Scotty. I mean, yeah. I just love the price. Like, I really like the 7 because I think you're going to get I think we'll get a good price. So,
yeah, I can understand liking the 7, 10 wins and 14 tries. I probably would lean and didn't break good last time out. As usual in these types of races, show me the horse that breaks good. And I'm kind of surprised to see Fire Cowboy was 12-1 on the odds makers morning line. You?
No, I know.
Weird,
yeah.
Right?
That's why.
What kind of morning line is that? Look what this horse has done. How can this horse be 12-1 on the odds makers morning line? It seems to make zero sense to me. I don't get it. Maybe it's the time, 21.68, whereas this horse went, more than a length faster.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I mean, look, I mean, the horse is right there by a neck, right? Looks like 2, 5, 6, and 7. You mentioned the 5 horse as well. That horse went 21.48. And let's see, that was in race number 9. Yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion in here. It's interesting. I see the EE morning line on the 6 horses 9-5, but man, this time is a lot slower, and was 64% to win last time out. So there's a lot of there's mixed feelings, like mixed information as well, right? So I don't know that I have a strong opinion in here, but
and to me though, that's why I like to take value on a 7. If Tim was here, right, from coaching class, I know he got, I think you knew Tim, right? But he can't play quarter horse, but that's where I hope you get a good price. But to your point, I think the horse probably take money. Should have never been 12-1, on Fire Cowboys.
Yeah. No, but it does win the race simulator. It is the EquinEdge top pick. Here's the thing. I will say this, and then we'll go on to the next race. I've noticed that when you have horses that are the top win percentage and are also the EquinEdge long shot, they win a lot. And on top of that, the horse is the second choice on the EE morning line. So I don't think you can go wrong taking the 7 horse in the race. So, all right, that's race number 10. Let's go to race number 11. We got one more to cover. I believe this is the last one, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's they're going 400 yards here in this race.
So this is the big futurity, 910,000 Texas Classic for 2-year-olds.
Wow. So the race simulator has the 3 horse winning the race over the 9. What did you think of the 3? 20-1 on the odds makers morning line. Man, this odds maker needs a lot of help. I'll tell you that. This is some of the worst morning lines I've ever seen. Look at this. 7-5. He made the 5. We have it at 7-1. He made the 1 3-1. We have the horse at 50-1. Somebody's messed up.
So, but Scotty, this is where I think as a horse player, I don't care, because I'm like, that's why I have EquinEdge, right? I'm like, it's going to drive some of the betting public, probably, especially down at Lone Star. I'm not sure how much you're going to have in a pool, right? But I was all over the 6 horse, and we've talked about Mr. Juan Diaz all night. Yeah. And the horse has won 6 of 7. It won a 74 trial, ran last out in an 84, Scotty. Ran 4th, was the favorite. Said lacked winning kick in the trouble line, right? So,
Well, the horse lost by 3/4 of a length. Come on. That was an 84 SOR group. When's the last time you saw an 84 SOR group in a quarter horse race? Wow.
Well, then look at the 8, right? So the 8 horse won easy, getting better, ran at 400, had a good GSR, 5-2 on the EquinEdge morning line, right?
Yeah.
Ran a 1966 in that trial. The actual the 6 horse didn't. I'm not sure. Maybe he got the trial goes back. I'm not sure for this. It must have been the trial back on 9/14. I don't know, or maybe they had 2 nights of trials. That must be how they did this. But the 6 and then the 6 actually ran in that Dash for Cash futurity here. And then we'll talk about a few others. You have the 9 at 26%. Right. And this is Machiavelli, right? Won that trial 2 back, ran in that 84 and ran 5th, gets to an outside post. This source could blow up the board. So this is just an amazing futurity, in my opinion, from like a betting standpoint, and us getting to look at this. Is. So the 3 was the other one, 3 in a row. Back to start its career, and then has run just some big races, comes in from Albuquerque, that
was the All-American futurity.
Yes.
That's no joke. That's the best of the best.
Yes. So the Dash for Cash showed up as the strongest strength of race between all the big futurities. The All-American was 80. The Dash for Cash was 84, right? The 6 and 9 come from the Dash for Cash at Lone Star, right? And then the 5 come from the All-American, right? The 3 coming from the All-American. So that's really where I looked at it, Scotty. I went to the 6 and Diaz again. I just figured I landed on him for most of the card. And I was like, I think that this horse is well meant. But this is a tough futurity. If I'm playing horizontal, right? Yes, I'm spreading here. I'm adding, 6, 8, 9, 5. Like I'm adding a few, but it's because I think we had chalk earlier. So you want to play pick 3s. I do think you may add some chalk earlier if there's a pick 4 or something. But I did put the 6 on top.
Look at this guy. So it was 60% here, won the race, 27% won, 57% won, 42% won. And then obviously an 84 SOR group, this horse goes off at 16%. Or with the win percentage was 16%. Look, it's 11% today. If that doesn't tell you how tough this race is, like I'm shocked to see the 9 horse at 26%. But here's what's crazy. It's not only 26%, it's also the top EquinEdge pick. Like it's 12-1 on the odds makers morning line. Why the hell is it 9-1 on the EE morning line? Like, wow. Like,
I mean, you can verticals, Scotty, here. You're going to have the right prices to play all types of verticals, in my opinion, with the 6, the 9, the 8, the 3. These are the races that I've always loved with EquinEdge, Scotty, because you can get a good trifecta here, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because these horses are going to go off at an okay price, and one of them going to run. So
look at this. Look who's the jockey on the 6 horse in the last 3 races? Duran, correct?
We had Duran riding. He's off the 6 riding the 9.
He's off, right? And so that's for Diaz, who has the 9. And the jockey trainer combination is 39%. I would almost bet you that Duran had the choice and he chose the 9.
Yeah, you could be right. To me, it was 6-9-3. I think EquinEdge picks have it. I do like the 8 some. I do like the morning line on the 8. But yeah, I could see you might be landing on the 9, which I think is a great pick, man. I mean, it's an awesome futurity. It's something I would definitely tune into.
This is a great race. Oh, I'm going to watch this race for sure. This is a fun race. Really good race. Good for Lone Star. This is a very competitive race. You don't want to take a favorite here. It's going to be interesting to see what the 9 goes off at, but I'm going to guess that Duran chose the 9 over the 6 that he had first call. And that's what appears to me. But yeah, a really good race. If I had to settle in on a horse, I don't know. The All-American Futurity is no joke. I know that the SOR was tougher in the Dash Cash Futurity. Dash for Cash for Charity, but I mean the All-American is no joke. The 5 comes out of there, but the 5 has lost the last 3 races. I mean, the type of horse is going to take to win this race, I'm looking for better than that. But I think this horse here is probably a horse you have to look at very carefully.
Yes,
right, with Rodriguez, Painted Eclipse, who's 20-1 on the odds makers morning line. Was in the All-American Futurity and actually lost by a couple of lengths. I think I will go with the 3 horse over. I think we have the picks, the 3, 6, 9, or I think those are the picks.
I agree. Yep. Yeah. But and maybe it's a box there. I mean, maybe you can box them and get, I don't know, and then play your opinion, right? Put whoever you want over the other 2 or something. So I do think that horse could run a good race, Scotty, the 8, Aguila Rapida, but I just thought the others were better.
And you look here, this is what's interesting to me. If you look at the 6 horse, it goes from 16% to 11%, so it goes down. You look at the 8 horse, it goes from 67% last time out down to 18% here. And you look at the 9, it goes from 33% only down to 26%.
Yeah.
So right. So the 9 is even though it's facing such a tough race, it's going down the very least and maintaining such a high win percentage. Super interesting. And then it also is EquinEdge's top pick. So, yeah. All right. Good
Two
stuff.
more. We have two more at
Okay.
Aqueduct, and then we're done for the evening.
Good.
And it's been a pleasure, everybody. And that was cool to cover quarter horse.
It was. So we're going to do Aqueduct on Sunday, correct?
Yeah, it's race 6 is the first one, and then race 8. There's 2 of them.
Okay. Race number 6, state bred, New York breds. Look, how cool is it? No matter look at we've got our morning lines up always immediately.
I know.
You know?
Yes. I mean, I think that's very cool. Part of why I thought it was a good idea to throw it up. I mean, you got morning line there, the race sim with the Angels, the big favorite.
Is this horse? I'm looking at this for the first time. Is this horse a single?
Yeah, I think so, Scotty. Oldie landed with the one on top. I landed with the one on top. I just thought in this group 1 3 in a row, man. I mean, Jose ride for Linda. It has been racing state bred, and so, but it romping kind of on the lead. You know, I know you have some other maybe horses with some win percents in here, but I didn't see it. I did think the one was probably a single.
Yeah, it certainly looks good.
I mean, you have the 6. I mean, is Wesley Ward, Frankie, this, I have a note from that win over at Keeneland. I mean, it's a positive note. I mean, nothing special, but, I think, but coming from open company back to state bred, but I just think Jose Linda
she looks super dominant in here. She really does. Yeah.
I agree. Yes.
She looks dominant. Yeah, the Race Simulator has it. The EE morning line. She's a horse to watch. She's 42%. She's got the top GSR. She's got the top pace. She's got the top SOR. She dominates in every metric. I mean, that's a single.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
What is Bill saying? Please tell me now. Is there something I should know? Know about what? What are you talking about, Bill?
I don't know. Unless he's talking about I think Chris maybe posted above or something. I don't know. All right.
And Duran was made a member of the British Order the other day. Just saying. Duran.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Race number 8 here. The Tepin Stakes. This is the last one we're going to cover. Let's see here. We'll run the race. Let's go. So what did you think in here? I mean, the one horse is dropping in. I love, by the way, I see them win, but not very often. The surge indicator has been one of the really cool little features that we've added to the site.
I actually agree with you. It is very easy. It tells you, and you can go look and you say, am I going to agree with that or not? And I mean, because the GSR is so good. So I did think the speed going to stop up front, Scotty. And so I was kind of against the one, even though it has a lot of speed there. I mean, man, I don't know. It's got the GSR drop, so I can't get down with Miriam's Fire. I mean, it's dropping 12 points on the stretch out. So, I think this horse is probably a sprinter. I think it's going to stop. Av Capri, Scotty, shows up at 9-2 on the EE morning line, but so I'm kind of wondering, I'm like, who's going to be the favorite, the 4 or the 5? But we'll see when the morning line come out. So, but I did think the speed was stopping. You do have Flavian Pratt on the 10, Scotty, and for Mr. Walden. But I thought, I was watching the race sim as you were doing that. I thought this probably was between the 5 or 6. The 5 won at 54. Main special came back, won at 68. It's a 68 today. You have Joel riding. This horse is coming off the pace, probably where I want Joel. but I don't know sometimes. But I think is for sure a player. But I liked Raining Flowers, Scotty, and John Ortiz has Giant V riding. 1-2 back in a 52 and 1-66 off the pace. I think there's a lot of speed here. I don't like that. It's that I do like it because it got some sprinters up there, inject some pace. And I think Raining Flowers is just going to get a great trip. 2-year-old filly. She's bred really well. Johnny rides, and he rode last both the win. So I know Johnny liked this horse if he's still riding. And so that's kind of how I looked at it. I like the E morning line 9-1. I don't know what type the morning line going to be, but that's how I looked at it.
So look at the 5 and the 6 come out of this on the same day. They ran in $110,000 allowance. Now one is a 2 lifetime races. You see that?
Yes.
And the 5 horse that was a 68 group and won that race easy, and the 66 group. The 5 horse was 40% that day, now 26%. And so it's interesting because they came out of the same day. 8 furlongs on the turf.
Both over at Keeneland, right?
Both over at Keeneland. 5 added blinkers last time out. The thing about it is that Dettori is off the 5 horse to ride the 4, and especially on the turf. I just personally think that losing Dettori is a big deal. The fact that Dettori gets off of this horse, I highly doubt that Ian Hardy took off Dettori to put Rosario on, because look, they're 0 for 1. So that tells me that Dettori chose the Brendan Walsh horse, and who won by 4 lengths, breaking its maiden. Now, you know how I feel about horses that break their maiden and then come back and face winners for the first time. But this horse won easily and beat 11 other horses. So I don't know, there's something with this 4 horse. It's super interesting.
It's to me it's between the 4, 5, 6, 9. I mean, if you want to throw a long shot, I find only like the 9, but the same problem I have that you mentioned is it just broke its maiden, But I like that the system has the 5 and 6 winning with that specific angle. So part of Sky, why I say, I'm like, okay, I know that it's very hard to do that. The system knows that, and it based on looking at the race of the 6 and in the 5 too. I just thought maybe these are 2 nice horses, and they're have a little more experience than a horse like the 4 or the 9 is how I looked at it. Yeah. I think any of them can win, but I landed on the 6 with Johnny V.
Yeah, let's see this workout here with Isle of Capri, 24 flat, both finished within themselves. Let's take a look at the work. Isle of Capri is on the inside of Brune, and nice stride. Moving nicely. It does look like the horse on the outside was working a little bit easier than Isle of Capri. Yeah, in retrospect, the more I look at this, I don't know. Sometimes there's reasons for the jockey switch. Dettori to me is one of the best turf riders there is. Going 2 turns on the turf, and he all of a sudden ends up on this horse, but. I think for me, I would probably choose the 5 horse. All right. You're going to take the 6?
Yes, I'm on the 6. The only thing I'll say is on the AEs, watch the 12 and 13. Okay. It's both the Ortiz brothers. You got Cherie DeVoe, and then you got George Weaver. So we don't need to talk about him, but I think that they obviously will have a shot, but I'm still on the 6 for me. So.
Okay. Hey, Chris, you want to come in before we check out here and just kind of talk about what's going on with this weekend shows?
Absolutely, Scotty. Great show, guys. You guys really nailed it. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We got the Road to the NHG tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. with Scotty and the NHG champ, David Harrison. Saturday, we will have the Stretch Run show. We're going to start at 2 or 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be Oldie, Justin, and I. David Harrison's going to pop in around 3 p.m. we got some decent races to cover then. The Claiming Crown at Churchill Downs we'll go over. And don't forget about the coaching class tomorrow night. I'll drop the link there in the chat. You can sign up there, 7 p.m. Eastern, limited to 20 people. We'll go through all these races that the Scotty and Justin went over. We'll go a little bit more in depth and have a little bit more time for that. But thanks, everybody, for joining. Appreciate you all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's cash some winners this week. Justin was on fire last week. If those were an NHC race contest, he'd have qualified like twice if he didn't win it.
I know, man. That was fun. We had a great show. Right? I was telling Sky that 254 to 1 exact. Like that was amazing. But yeah, that's good though, Chris. That Breeders' Cup. Remember all those second places?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those second places in NHC contests, they certainly add up for sure.
Yeah,
they sure do. All right, you guys. Thank you guys. Big shout out to the team as well. You know, Oldie. Big shout out to Oldie and the boys and Alfredo was aboard here. Big shout out to him and to Derek and of course the team that makes everything happen. Ryan and Brad and Riley. Thank you, Riley and Amy and Anna, of course, and we got Ramey. I mean, the team is growing, you guys. Malcolm, big shout out to Malcolm and Kathy. We appreciate all you guys. Like, it takes a lot to bring all this to you guys. And don't forget, if you haven't joined the coaching class, it makes a difference. It just, for those of you that are new, you kind of learn how everything works. And even if you've been handicapping a long time, anytime you do something new, there's a lot to learn. So would be great to have you. Go to EquinEdge.com. It's free. And looking forward to tomorrow. We haven't done the Road to the NHC in a couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to that with 2022 NHC champ David Harrison. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you tomorrow morning, 11:30 Eastern time. Bye-bye.